I am the kind of man who reads the manual before assembling the furniture. I know that sounds like a punchline, the kind of thing a wife says at a dinner party to get a laugh at her husband's expense, and everyone chuckles because it's true and harmless and proof that opposites attract. Priya used to say it about me all the time. Daniel won't leave the house until he's checked the weather on 3 different apps. And I'd smile, and people would laugh, and I never minded because she wasn't wrong. I'm a structural engineer. I've spent 15 years doing one thing above everything else, making sure things don't fall down. You develop a relationship with certainty when your job is load calculations and failure thresholds. You learn that the difference between a building that stands and one that collapses is usually something small. A number ignored, a margin dismissed, a detail someone decided wasn't worth double-checking. I applied that logic to everything, including my marriage. I met Priya at Jesse and Jess's engagement party, which felt appropriate somehow, a love story beginning inside someone else's. She was standing near the bar with a glass of wine she wasn't drinking, looking at the room the way I look at a blueprint, like she was trying to understand the structure beneath the surface. I introduced myself. She laughed at something I said that wasn't particularly funny, and I thought, this one is generous. 4 months later, I knew I was going to marry her. 8 months after that, I did. We were good together, the way a well-built house is good, solid, reliable, not dramatic about it. I bought the house before the wedding, kept it in my name for tax purposes. My accountant suggested it, it made sense on paper. I set up the retirement fund the same year. And 3 years into the marriage, when I finally felt like the foundation was steady enough, I took out a $450,000 life insurance policy. Priya was the sole beneficiary. It wasn't a romantic gesture, it was responsibility, the way I understood it. If something happened to me, she'd be protected. That was what a husband did. The one variable I'd never quite calculated was Priya's relationship with consistency. She'd opened a boutique 2 years into the marriage, women's accessories, a pretty space she designed herself, and closed it 8 months later without a real explanation, just a quiet disappearance of enthusiasm. Then came the social media consulting, which produced a logo and a website and approximately 3 clients before it too dissolved into the background. I never pushed. I told myself she was still finding her direction, that some people need more runway. I believed it because I loved her, and because believing otherwise required me to do something I wasn't ready to do. I should have been more suspicious of my own patience. What I remember most about the last few months before everything shifted, is the quiet. Our life was comfortable in the way that very settled things are comfortable. Routine, warm, a little airless. We ate dinner together most nights. We watched television. We talked about small things and occasionally large things, and almost never about the fact that we weren't really talking at all. And then one Tuesday in October, something changed. I came home to the smell of cumin and garlic and something slow-cooked, and Priya was standing at the stove with an apron tied around her waist, actually cooking. Not reheating, not ordering in and transferring to pots to make it look homemade, actually cooking. She turned around when she heard me come in and smiled, a real, open, almost shy smile, and said she'd been watching videos, that she wanted to take better care of him. I set my bag down and stood there for a moment, taking it in, the smell of the food, the way she'd tied her hair back, the careful, unfamiliar concentration on her face. I should have known that a woman who burned toast for 4 years doesn't suddenly become a chef out of love. The symptoms didn't announce themselves. That's the thing no one tells you about slow damage. It doesn't come in like a storm. It seeps. It finds the gaps in your routine and settles there quietly until you can't remember what the before felt like. It started with fatigue, not the satisfying, earned exhaustion of a full workday, but something heavier, a thick, damp tiredness that sleep couldn't reach. I'd wake up after 8 hours feeling like I'd only managed 3. I blamed the project we had running downtown, the back-to-back site visits, the late calls with the city planning office. I was 50 pages into the stress explanation before I even noticed there was anything else to explain. Then came the stomach cramps, dull at first, occasional, always after dinner. I told myself it was the new food. Priya had put me on what she called a clean eating plan, more vegetables, less processed sugar, herbal teas she ordered from a specialty shop, and brewed Eve. Rye evening. I drank them because she handed them to me with a kind of attentive care that I'd missed and didn't know how to refuse. The mental fog was the worst of it. I am precise at work. That's not arrogance, it's the baseline requirement of what I do. I notice discrepancies. I catch the calculation that's off by 0.5% before it becomes a catastrophic overload. I am never the man who misplaces a measurement or loses track of a detail. And yet somewhere around week 3 of Priya's new cooking regime, I started making small mistakes at the site, leaving a set of load specs on my desk instead of bringing them to the review meeting. Forgetting a conversation I'd had 24 hours earlier. Arriving at the job site and spending 40 seconds standing at my truck trying to remember why I'd come. My crew noticed before I admitted it to myself. I blamed overtime. Then aging, I was 35, which isn't old but suddenly felt like it meant something. Then the new diet. Then stress.